Super Rugby Saturday games, and I'm doing this video on a Saturday. Sorry guys, it's a day late. I usually do the Saturday games on the Friday, but I went out after work and had a drink and whatnot, and got home and was like, this video's gonna wait till tomorrow. So yeah, no video yesterday. It doesn't happen that often, but there we go. Sorry about that. First game, Hurricanes against the Blues. Both these teams have got decent records. The Hurricanes one is slightly better. They've both won 3, but the Blues have lost that one game. They've lost once to the Crusaders and once to the Chiefs. So they still haven't beaten a New Zealand team as yet, have the Blues. They've only beaten the Tars, the Stormers, and the Bulls. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to know where the Blues are at. I guess this will be a true test. They're coming back from South Africa. They're playing the Hurricanes at home, who've just come off a heck of a win over the Sunwolves. So, yeah, the Hurricanes definitely go into this one as favourites. It's a bit of a pity that Beauden Barrett isn't back for this game, but he's still on his kind of sabbatical. It would have added a bit of spice to the game. But even without that, you think the Hurricanes guys will certainly have a bit of motivation to go ahead and get a result over the Blues. And nobody wants to lose to the Blues, especially when you're hosting them. So, yeah, hopefully we get a good crowd out for this one. I'm not sure what the weather's like in Wellington, but at least in Auckland here today, it is lovely and fine. So, good weather for playing some rugby. You got to look at that midfield of Laumape and Aso and say, that's world class, man. The Aso last week was phenomenal. I mean, they've got TJ Fane and Rico Iwane there to match up with them. So Rico will certainly have his work cut out for him, being a relatively inexperienced guy in the midfield at this level. Marchin's still on the wing. I guess the other bit of big news is, apart from James Parsons coming back from his arm injury, which is a pretty quick return, Akira Iwane actually gets a game at number 8 this week. So it's always been Satutu until now, but Akira finally gets a game. So pressure will be on him to do something kind of outstanding. He's going to have to get his work rate up and whatnot. So, because Satutu's been playing well, we will see how he goes. The Hurricanes are 10-point favourites with Rugby Forecast algorithm, and the bookies are saying Hurricanes by 6 points. So, not super close according to those predictions. But like I said, the Blues, they haven't been terrible. So we'll see how they go. The second game, which is the Rebels and the Lions. Oh, the Lions season is going pretty poorly. And likewise, the Rebels have not got off to their flying start, which we're used to. So it's not must-win times yet for both of these teams. But we're quickly kind of burning through the season, and points, it's hard to chase them down if you've got to kind of win every game. If you've got to win 6 in a row to make the playoffs, that's mentally pretty tough to know that. So you definitely want to be picking up some points along the way. So Rebels, 2 wins and 3 losses. Lions, 1 win, 3 losses. Yeah, I do like the look of this Lions back row. You got Manus Skuman, who is, although he's not that big, he is a very agile, nimble runner and a big threat at the breakdown. So he offers a lot. And then you got Willem Alberts, he's not small. He is something of a monster of a man. He's there. And then you got Len Massane, who has been pretty outstanding for the Lions. So he's kind of unfortunate in that he's been playing for a team which has been losing, because I think he's been one of the kind of good news stories coming out of the Lions this year. For the Rebels, they seem to have kept their lineup pretty stable. Ulysses is still there on the bench. Hopefully he can remain fit. Bill Meeks and Tom English are in the midfield. So Callaway had a really great game last week. Dane Hillard-Peters captain from 15. So yeah, they're kind of keeping things steady as she goes. So Rebels are 1-point favourites with Rugby Forecast algorithm and 6-point favourites with the bookies. I guess partly that's just the home advantage. They are back in Melbourne this week, so rather than being in their home away from home at Ballarat, they're actually in Melbourne. The next one, Sharks Jaguares. Is that the game of the round, or at least the game of the Saturday? It's either that or the Blues Hurricanes, I think. Because neither of these teams have got great records, and likewise neither of these teams have got great records. But the first and the third game are kind of the teams which are at least on the positive side of the ledger. The Sharks have been, I wouldn't say a surprise package, because that would maybe do them a bit of disservice, but at least I think better than most of us expected them to be. You looked at that South African conference and you thought Stormers or Jaguares for top spot, and then maybe the Sharks can kind of sneak into 8th or something. But with 4 wins and 1 loss and their tour of Australia and New Zealand already out of the way, they have put themselves into a really good position this season, and so many of their guys are standing up. So it has been very, very encouraging stuff. The Jaguares have been good without being great this season, so I still think they need. Well, they had a good win last week over a poor Bulls side, but I still think there's another gear that they can switch up to. So we'll see if they're able to kind of click this week, because the Sharks are already there. I mean, when I say guys who are standing up, look at their backline. I mean, you got Scrader at 9. You could argue Nahamba should be the guy starting 9 with that crisp pass of his. You got Bosch, who's been kicking 50-meter penalties and getting tries and try assists. You got Esterhazen and who are legit one of the best midfield combos in Super Rugby, if not World Rugby. Mapimpi and Nkosi. It's been all about Mapimpi so far. He has been in top form, and Fassi has just been phenomenal. And you can't, I mean, it's all in the back of the good work. The forwards, you got guys like Andrews, Dutoy, the Ox, James Venter has been good. So, yeah. There's a lot of positive stuff coming out of Durban in this campaign so far. For the Jaguares, they got Tukalet starting at 15 this week. They've still got Bertranos. They're starting 9 because they're kind of without another 9. So I think it's Cancellieri who will fill in at 9. If Bertrano goes down, Diaz Bonija still starts at 10. So Miotti is on the bench, which is a pretty good pairing to have. I mean, Bonija is more experienced, but Miotti is also a class player. Boffelli has been in great form. Carreras has been dangerous. And Montoya has been one of the best hookers in World Rugby, in the last 6 months or 9 months, maybe even a bit longer. So, yeah, he's getting more starts than anybody else in the Jaguares at the moment. So, yeah, it's good times. Jaguares by 1 is what the Rugby Forecast algorithm says, and this is the only game where the bookies disagree. The bookies say Sharks by 4. On current form, I think you'd back the Sharks. But if you were to look back to last year, if you combine that form, then you'd probably say the Jaguares. But, yeah, it's all about the current game. So how the Jaguares go at scrum time could be one to watch. Lastly, it's the Bulls and the Highlanders. Is it must win for the Bulls yet with no wins from 4 games? It's getting close. It's getting close. They need to get the campaign underway, man. And they have been close in some of their games, not all the games, but yeah, it's not been all that fun for the guys from Pretoria at the minute. But they are facing a Highlanders side who have been equally pretty bad. Like, the Highlanders snuck 1 win out of the 4 games they've played, and that one was, admittedly, and they've been good for this, they do play the full 80. They're not a team you can go to sleep on because they will punish you, but they haven't been convincing over the games they've played, which is why they've got 1 win from 3. So yeah, both sides are under a fair bit of pressure, I would imagine. The Bulls have got what seems to be a fairly stable lineup. The back 3 is still exciting and probably needs to be scoring more tries. Galant, Hendricks, and Speckman. That's 3 of the best players in South Africa. Interestingly, Mani Libok gets a start this week at 10, so Morne Steyn is down to the bench. That's probably the biggest change. Still got Josh Stross there, Van Staden, Inyakane is captain, Kaboka is there, Visaki, so they should be doing better than none from 4, but sometimes the season can just start that way. For the Highlanders, they persist with Hunt at 10 and Ioane at 12, so Tay Walden sits on the bench. Am I mad, or was the midfield combo of Tay Walden and Rob Thompson pretty good the last few years? I don't know, man. I thought that was like one of the most underrated midfields in Super Rugby. Those guys were pretty good. Frizzell's at 6, Dylan Hunt's at 7. So there's certainly talent in the side as well. The front row, Tokolaki, Coltman, and Johnston will have their work cut out for them against the Bulls front row, but I don't think they're too likely to get bullied around. We'll see. Michael Collins gets the nod at 15. Mackay is on the right wing. So yeah, they are not favoured. Bulls by 2 is what the Rugby Forecast algorithm says, and Bulls by 2, they agree, is what the bookies say as well. So on paper, that is the closest game of the lot, probably followed by the Sharks and Jaguares. But yeah, none of these ones are predicted to be big blowouts. The Blues getting beaten by 10, according to Rugby Forecast, is the biggest prediction so far. Blues against New Zealand teams, they are like to implode sometimes. But anyway, yeah. Cheers for your patience, guys. It's a day later than normal, but there's the preview for the Saturday games, which are today's games. And I need to go finish watching the highlights of the Brumbies and the Sunwolves. I've seen the other 2 games. I've seen the Reds' good effort against the Crusaders, and I've seen the Waratahs' second half meltdown against the Chiefs. So, yeah. See how things go. Cheers, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.